Are you tired of waiting for the state of Florida legislature to pass open carry? Well, here's another option for you. What's up, everyone out there in YouTube world, Facebook world, social media world, the world? I am your host, MGL, and welcome to Musings with MGL. Today, we're going to do a quick little refresher or story on a big lawsuit that's happening here in Florida. This is kind of making the rounds. It's a little bit old news at this point. Sorry, I just got around to being able to make a video on it. But in case you haven't heard, the state of Florida is being sued to overturn their open carry firearm law. Now, as I've said in numerous videos before, Florida bans open carry except for very, very small limited exceptions. But other than those exceptions, open carry is not allowed in Florida. We're one of a very few states that do not allow open carry, including some really left-wing liberal states. And despite all the people who claim that we're, the Gunshine State and we're all pro-law firearm laws down here, we actually don't have open carry, only along with some other liberal states, whereas most states now have open carry. So we've been trying to get it passed through the legislature for years, and it actually keeps getting shot down by the Republicans who are in charge of the legislature. So the Senate leader, the Senate or the legislature, the House of Representative leader, they always shut it down and never even makes it out of committee. Governor DeSantis claims he's in favor of it, but he's never pushed it. He's never called for them to enact it. And mainly it's because the Florida Sheriff's Association is highly against it, highly against it. I actually find that most law enforcement across the board are against it. You may find some rank and file members at the bottom who are really pro Second Amendment, but most law enforcement that I've found or law enforcement officers are against it. And certainly the Sheriff's Association is really against it. They often go up to Tallahassee and speak out against it every time it comes up for a vote. So several gun organizations out there just got basically tired of waiting for that. And with the Bruin case coming out saying that, if things aren't historically in the books, they should be thrown out. And with some other state bans being thrown out with some other circuits, they decided to go ahead and say, you know what? F you, legislature. We're tired of waiting for you to do it. We're just going to file a lawsuit and see if we can go to the courts. So here's a quick little brief rundown about it. Gun rights groups go to federal court to overturn Florida law banning open carry of firearms. Florida lawmakers claim to be pro-gun, but year after year, they refuse to repeal the 1987 ban on open carry. Although Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has voiced support allowing for the open carrying of firearms in Florida, he hasn't done much to persuade the GOP-led legislature to actually pass such legislation. Now, two Second Amendment groups say they're tired of waiting for the state to act and have filed a lawsuit in federal court challenging Florida's ban on open carry. The Gun Owners of America, GOA, Gun Owners Foundation, and Palm Beach County resident Richard Hughes filed a 40-page lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida on Tuesday, alleging that the ban on open carry of firearms violates the Second and Fourth Amendments to the Constitution. Quote, despite its reputation as a largely gun-friendly state, Florida inexplicably continues to prohibit the peaceable carrying of firearms in an open and unconcealed manner, the lawsuit begins. This blatant infringement of the Second Amendment right to bear arms runs counter to the nation's historical tradition and would have criminalized the very colonists who openly carried their muskets and mustered on the greens at Lexington and Concord to fight for their independence. To fight, I assume it's supposed to say. The complaint mentions that the state's open carry ban, initially adopted in 1983, came decades after Reconstruction and more than a century after the Second Amendment was ratified. Making matters worse, it avers, is that the 1983 carry ban targeted only a disfavored subset of the population, newly free blacks, while whites enjoyed de facto immunity from enforcement. During the 2023 legislative session, the Florida GOP-controlled legislature passed a law allowing residents to legally carry concealed weapons without having a permit. We remember that from last year. But several prominent gun rights advocates were outspoken during the legislative committee process last year that the state wasn't going far enough and that it needed to pass an open carry provision as well. Although the state has a national reputation as one of the strongest advocates for Second Amendment rights, only three other states, California, Illinois, and New York, along with the District of Columbia, ban the open carry of firearms. And that's a big deal there, ladies and gentlemen, because we are only one of four states, along with California, Illinois, and New York, who ban open carry. During the 2024 legislative session, Hillsborough County Republican Mike Beltran filed legislation to try and get it passed, but neither House Speaker Paul Renner, I'm going to name them, Paul Renner, or Senate President Kathleen Pasadamo showed any enthusiasm for the bill, and it died without a committee hearing. It didn't even get a freaking committee hearing, let alone a vote. DeSantis, who was on the campaign trail in Iowa in the months leading up to the session, never pushed those leaders to schedule the bill. You have a Republican House Speaker state that he and his Republican colleagues don't have an appetite to debate and vote on open carry. You have a Republican Senate president state that repealing the under 21 purchase ban is a non-starter. Yet both have the nerve to campaign that they're pro-gun, said Luis Valdez, Florida State Director of Gun Owners of America, in February. So in a nutshell, and here again, they talk about Bruen and New York State versus Bruen. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down a New York law and it greatly expanded gun rights. In 2017, Florida Supreme Court has settled restrictions on open carrying, staying Norman v. State. So we don't need to get into the whole history of it. But bottom line is, a lawsuit's been filed. So let's keep an eye on this. I'll keep an eye on it. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell notification. Whenever I put up new videos, you'll get notified of it. And I will put up a video whenever something new comes out about the lawsuit. So we're going to keep an eye on this. All things being correct, they should win this lawsuit. Quite frankly, I think this lawsuit probably should have been filed immediately after the Bruen decision came out, because it did lay out the new standard, which is there a historical precedent for having these firearms. The under 21 one should be struck down under Bruen. The open carry one should be struck down under Bruen. And as soon as that case came out, they should have been filing these lawsuits here in Florida, not waiting for the legislature, because I think it's been clear for decades now that the legislature is not going to do it. They're not going to overturn anything in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, and they're not going to overturn anything that's not in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, like open carry. So the courts are our only option. And again, I'm not advocating whether you should or shouldn't open carry. That's a discussion for tactical people and everybody else to have their own opinion on whether you want to open carry or not open carry. As a constitutionalist, I believe wholeheartedly that you should have the right to decide whether you want to open carry or not open carry. Whether I would personally open carry or not is irrelevant. Whether you would personally open carry or not is irrelevant. So instead of getting in fights about open carry is stupid and concealed carry is better or open carry is better, nobody cares, in my opinion. The only important issue is, do you have the right to choose which one of those options you want to do? And I believe under the Constitution, you 100% do. And the legislatures here in Florida obviously disagree with that. So now we have to try and go to the judges. So like, share, subscribe, get notifications whenever there's updates to this. I'll keep an eye on it. And hopefully in the long run here in the near future, we'll get a ruling and maybe we can finally get this overturned, and then people can choose to carry however they want to carry. So as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay vigilant, and certainly carry on. And hopefully, however we want to.